Okay, Givach from Yerushalayim Kodesh. I didn't anticipate anyone being here, but Baruch Hashem, we have Rabbi Rosenzweig talk, so you'll see you on the screen, right? We have Rabbi Rosenzweig and the Anikel, so it's so nice to have Rebbe Talmud relationship even in Yerushalayim, even though it's Shabbos in New York, so it's gewaldig. Okay, we're doing the sugya of Shamta of Nidui. We spoke out there are different levels of Nidui. Something really strange just happened. I don't know what happened over there. I said I was signed out because somebody signed in from another device. I don't know. Very strange. Okay, anyway, so it's recording. Let me make sure it's recording. Okay, so we're busy. We're trying to. We said nizuf is where a person would self-inflict themselves. We had machlokes. Where was it? In Bavel, it was one day. In Eretz Yisrael, it was 7 days. Then we had a machlokes by a nidui person being put in a nidui. How long that was? 30 days or 7 days. And we had chayrim, which was even more severe. Today we're going to see something interesting. That even shamta, the concept of nidui, is lav dafka with three bezdin putting you in. It can even be one person putting themselves in chayrim. In other words, a person has the capacity to go ahead and inflict a nidui on another person. It works, I guess, mitaris neder. We know the neder is a chalois on a chefza. You make your objects us to people, or you can inflict. It seems excommunication, whatever the term is. It's lav dafka. If you need a bezdin to do it, there's certain scenarios for certain people. And we mentioned there are 24 reasons that bezdin would put a person in chayrim. I keep on using the chayrim. I mean, I keep on saying that lashon to be. I'm not being exact. To be person shanta. So today we're going to conclude that sugya, and then we'll get into the concept of mitzvah and nazir in the Mishnah that spoke about them being able to take a haircut on Chol Moed. So again, greetings from Yerushalayim Kodesh. We're on Yud Tes Zayin on the base. We are on the 2 lines from the bottom. Tes Zayin on the base, 2 lines from the bottom. Amrav Tamchon Bered Rav Chia Ish Kfar Akoy. Amrav Yaakov Bar Acha. Amrav Simloi. V'imila Amrav Tanchum. Amrav Huna. V'imila Amrav Huna. L'chudei. A long-winded or l'chudalom. Talmid Shenida L'chvoidai Nidui of Nidui. A Talmud who excommunicates puts a nidui on an individual for the Talmud's own covered, that nidui is accepted by everybody. In other words, it was his affront. It was his affront. He's not the Rebbe, he's the Talmud. But once this Talmud is affronted, he's the Talmud Chacham, other people would have to be nohig his nidui that he placed on an individual. The Tanya, Menuda l'Rav, someone who's been excommunicated by the Rav, Menuda l'Talmud would be Menuda to the Talmud by extension of the greatness of the Rav. Menuda l'Talmud ain't a Menuda l'Rav. However, the Menuda of the Talmud would not be a Menuda to the Rav. The Rav would not have to go ahead and treat that person in nidui, right? L'Rav hu deina Menuda. The diak of the Gemara is to the Rav it's not Menuda. Halu kuli alma Menuda. However, to everybody else it is. To everyone else it is Menuda. To everyone else it would be. Lamai, even mili shemaya, if the Talmud put the other person in chayrim because of a devar aveira, in other words, something to do with what? With mili de shemaya, not to do with his own personal covet, not a personal affront, but an affront to the Rabbi Shalom. Ein chachma vein tfuna vein eitzel neged Hashem. When it comes to the Rabbi Shalom, there's no cheshbon whatsoever. So the Rav also should have to treat a nidui. If the Talmud put the individual in nidui because of something that was a front to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then why is the Rav not being noig the nidui? Elalav, it must be l'chaver atzma. It must be a personal one, and therefore the Rav, since it's personal to the Talmud, the higher level of the Rav does not require him to go ahead and treat the nidui of that individual. Amrav Yosef subim rabbanon avedina lenafshe b'mili de psikale. Says Rav Yosef, a young Talmud Chacham, he can go ahead and be Avedina l'nafshe b'milsid b'sikla. In other words, if it's something that is so clear to him, then he's able to be Avedina l'nafshe. Rashi learns it's going on Dine Mominis, that if it's something that's so clear to him, he's able to go ahead and extract the money from that other individual. The question is, if that's the case, it's not such a chiddush because the sugya in Baba Kama says that any individual could do that. That of it any deal nafshe, take the law into his own hand when it comes to dini mamanis. So the chiddush over here, according to somebody shining, is that despite the fact he's a Talmud Chacham, and you maybe think that he has to act above the law and not in this case take it, nonetheless he'd be able to go ahead and take the money. The question is what does this have to do with asugya? All of a sudden you're speaking about nidoy and you're bringing in Avadin additional absolutely in the moment. It's kind of difficult. So I saw today the Nemuka Yosef says a whole different pshat. The Nemuka Yosef says that a Talmud Chacham Avadin additional and nafshe the milsid psikle to place a chayrim on a person. So in other words, milsid psikle. We spoke out the Nemuka Yosef uses the following example, guys. Let's say somebody would call somebody an eved, a slave, or call somebody a mamzer. The Rambam brings down, this is one of the 24 reasons you put a person in chayrim, in nidoy. Why? For calling the person a name. So that's a milsa de psikale. You don't have to go look into it. It's so clear. You went ahead, you affronted that individual by calling him an ever a mamzer. It's a milsa de psikale that's clear cut. Then he could put him in what? In nidoy. So it fits in very nicely in the context of a sugya based upon the Nemuka Yosef. If it's a milsa the psikle, he called him an eved or a mamza, therefore he can go ahead and put the person in nidoy. There was a very sad story. There was a tzumar rabbanon that his son Ishmael. There was a bad rumor about him, a bad rumor that in fact that he was involved in an inyan of znus. That was the rumor about this. He was a Talmud Chacham, as we're going to see. What should we do? Lishamte, to put him in chayrim, to put him in nidoy, tzrichle rabbanon, the rabbanon need him. Rashi says that he was the Rav of the town. Loy lishamte, not to put him in chayrim, kamaskil shma d'shmaya, it's a chil Hashem. So Rav Yehuda was in a quandary what to do about this individual, whether to put him based upon this report that he was involved in some type of znus, whether to put him in sham or not. So Amalei Rabbi Rav Chana. So said Rabbi Yehuda to Rabbi Rav Chana, Midi Shmilacha B'ha. Did you hear something about this? So Amalei. So Rabbi Rav Chana told him, Hachim Rabbi Yochanan, the great Rabbi Yochanan told him, My dechsiv ki sivsei koye nishmu das v'Torah yavakshu mipihu ki malach Hashem tzvakis hu perish im doim harav l'malach Hashem. If the Rabbi is doim l'malach Hashem, yavakshu Torah mipiv. Then you go ahead and be mavakish Torah from him. And if not, as in this case, this individual, is not a Malach Hashem, clearly, then al yavakshu Torah mipiv, you should not go ahead and put Torah mipiv. And Rabbi Yehuda took this saying from Rav Chana to put him in chayrim. After all, again, we're not going to listen to his Torah anyway. Put him in. I keep on saying chayrim. It means a nidoy. Sham to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda put this individual in chayrim in nidoy. L'soif ichlish Rabbi Yehuda. In the end, Rabbi Yehuda got sick. Again, it didn't have to be right away. It could have been a while later. They went to visit him. And the person he put in nidoy accompanied them. Obviously, he stayed away the 4 amas that's required by a person that's excommunicated from an individual. Kadchazi Rabbi Yehuda, when Rabbi Yehuda saw this individual, he left. The individual told Rabbi Yehuda, it's not enough that you put me in chayrim. You're laughing at me, you're putting salt on the wounds. So Rabbi Yehuda told him, I'm not laughing at you. Obviously, he felt he was dying. And he said, when I get to the next world, but I had a clear das, I was happy. Even a great person like you, I wasn't mechanef. In other words, I was true. I put you in chayrim despite your greatness. So I laughed at, I'm about to leave this world. At least when I get to Shemayim, I could say I was true to this inyan. Yehuda was nifta. Also, maybe Joshua, this individual came to the base medrash. He wanted to remove the nidoy. Some who sharili. We don't have such a great person like Rabbi Yehuda to go ahead and take off your nidoy. Go to Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya, right? That great Yehuda Nesiya, the grandson of Rabbi HaKadosh. He'll go ahead and mat you. Also, this individual showed up in front of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya. Ravami. So Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya told Ravami, go look at what the story is with this individual. And if we could, right? So Ayin Ravami Bedina, he looked into it. Sabal and Mishrelei, he held, what? We're going to take off the chayrim. However, Amid Rav Shmuel ben Achmeni, who was an elder statesman, as I will see, Al Raglav Yisrael Omar, Umas Shifcha Shel Beis Rebbe. The incident that occurred with the Shivcha Beis Rebbe, which we'll see soon. The Chachamim, they kept her nidui very, very strictly, even the fact that she was a maidservant, Shalish for 3 years. The great Yehuda Achaver, Achas Kama V'Kama, we should keep it in place. So therefore, Rav Shmuel Bar Nachmani overturned what Rav Ami said to go ahead and take the nidui off, and he wanted to keep the nidui in place. Amrav Zera, Mai de Kamon the Osya Idna, who Aisaba Memidrasha, why this individual, Rav Shmuel Bar Nachmani, came in front of us, the elder statesman, Hasaba, the Beit Medrash, he was the elder of the Beit Medrash, the Kama Shani Liasa, he never came. And Punk, he hasn't been here in a long time. And Punk today, when he shows up, this is the Shaila comes in front of us. Shema Mina, it must be, right? There's nothing that's, there's such a thing as what is happenstance. Let me boil a mishrei. We should, in other words, the whole reason was here that we shouldn't, even though for our cheshman, we should take it off. And he said, no, we're not going to take it off. So like Shari, like Nafik, and this person went out, he was crying. He was sham again. He was a guy's a big Talmud Chacham, as we're going to see. For also Asi Zibura came along a bee, Vitarkia Amse, and it bit him on his aver, bit him on the male aver. V'shachiv alayo, and he died. And V'shachiv, and he died. So Rashi brings, look, top Taisus, Vitarkia. Why did he bind him in that part of his anatomy? Nashcha Amasle, V'yesh Mefarshim, Mida Keneged Mida, Mishum de Nechsha Biznus. Since the whole he was Choshev Biznus, Kadosh Baruch Hu punishes Mida Keneged Mida to show that what the person was guilty of should be a kapara for the individual. So I guess that's why he did this. Anyway, Ayul Ma'arad the Chasidei. They wanted to bury him in the cave of Hasidim, of pious people. This guy must have been a big guy. Again, it's amazing. He must have. And anyway, V'lei Kiblua, they did not go ahead and accept it. They didn't accept Taisvis. V'lei Kiblua, the Hajjula Achna, a snake went ahead and was guarding the entrance to the cave, and was a riot. They didn't want him in there. Aylu Lemarata, the Dayana, they brought him to the cave of the Dayanim, the Kiblua, they were Makabalan. My timer, what's the reason? The Abed Rebeloi, because he did like Rebeloi. So we're going to see two pshatim over here. One reason that he accepted him in this cave of the Chassid, of the pious, of the Dayanim, because he did like Rebeloi. Another reason, the reason they didn't accept him, the other one, because he did do like Rebeloi. Like Rebeloi, the Tanya Rebeloi Oimer, and Roya Adam Yetsu Miskarbala. You see a person that is Yetsu Miskarb on him, Yelech Lamakam Sheim Akirna. He should go to a place where they won't recognize him. You should go wear black clothing, be active shchayrim, and go ahead and wrap himself in black clothing. And do what he wants. Pashtus, do the Aveira. And Hashem Shemayim shouldn't even be schal b'fehesya. So, according to very, very interesting Gemara, that it seems that you have a heter over here to do an Aveira if you can't control the Yetzer Hara. Says Rashi, my time of Kablua, why were they makabel him in the cave of the Dayanim? The Avdik Rabbi Loi, the Hani Shmuas Rois. He did like Rabbi Loi regarding these Shmuas Rois. He did it because he again, it was only a rumor because he hit himself somewhat. A person should go to a place, Rashi continues, Mashli b'chafetz, Avera. He should do the Avera. V'hoyol ve'makirei saysham, like a chil Hashem. Since they're not magged them over there, like a chil Hashem. So therefore, according to this pshat, it seems that what? If a person can't control themselves, go to this place, and therefore what? Do what you do. However, Rabbi Mishum Rav Hai, v'yasem ashali b'chafetz roitz aloymar, devadai kimin shalavish chayrim, eini orei bedava. He's not going to do it. Shein chafetz mikan be'elach ba'aveira. In other words, he's going to go ahead and put on black clothing, and that's going to stop him from doing the Aveira. It's not that it's going to allow him to do the Aveira, it's going to stop him from doing the Aveira. Let's see Taisus over here. And Roy Adam Sheyetzim Biskabra love, because of Rabbeinu Tam, because of Rabbeinu Chanano, Chas v'shalom, loychuta loy lasois Aveira. There's no head to do an Aveira. Ela yedei kach yichne liboy, he'll be machni himself. This is similar to this Rav Hai going. So guys, this basically touched on a big nakuda. We say at kol bidei shemayim chutz mir shemayim, that everyone has bechira. If you're going to learn like the first Pshat in Rashi, that you only want to avoid the chilul Hashem that's going to be brought about, but there seems to be a heter for an avera. It seems a person would not have bechira. That's possible for a person not to have bechira, which is not the way we paskin. We paskin a kol b'yishmayim chutz mi Yerushalayim. Therefore, it's more mistaba like the Rabbeinu Haigoinen, like Rabbeinu Hananel. That the reason for do this is not to go ahead and be mat to do the avera. The reason to do it is mishani place, put black clothing on yourself, and remind yourself, to get you to stop from doing the avera. That's, in other words, it's a tool, it's an instrument to stop you from doing that avera. This is, I think, beyond the scope of our share. It's a very interesting philosophical discussion to get into exactly what exactly this means. Again, it's very deep. But again, I just place in front of you two different opinions. Now, in Rabbi Shmuel ben Nachmani's dialogue, that he said that we should keep this individual in chayrim, he mentioned the Maisa with the shivcha of what of Rabbi, the shivcha of Bebe. What exactly happened over there? So what exactly happened over there? And shivcha shel base Rabbi Maihi, the amsa de Be Rabbi, the amsa, the shivcha of Rabbi and house of Rabbi Chazis elu Gabi. So this individual, was hitting his oldest son. Now you hit your oldest son, you're setting yourself up for trouble. You want to hit him? We're up to the Gemara about hitting you hit. Very, very geschmack. Good to see. Nachas, Yiddish nachas. So Amru lahavi hahu gavra b'shamta. So he said that this person should be what? This person should be in chayrim. This person should be in chayrim. In other words, she put the person in chayrim. This is what I began to share with Rabbi and everybody else. That it seems to be there's like a chalois, a neder. I make this. I can make this safe for us to me. Beli neder. I make this safe for me. You can't make such a neder. You can't make it asa to me. You can't go ahead and make it asa, right? You can make it asa. You can make this person. She made a neder. This person, this individual, she made a neder. Not for everybody else, but for her, for this individual. Why? Because he was sitting a son, right? Why? Why would she do it? The by hitting your oldest son, you're setting him up for him hitting you back or being mechutzah. Speaking son, it's his oldest son. So that was the ma'aseh with the Amos of the Rebbe. Another ma'aseh of Shamta. He was watching a vineyard. He was watching a paradise, some type of orchard. Asu Gabra came along an individual, and he ate. He just took down from the trees figs and he ate them. So Rami Beikala, Reish Lakish raised his voice. He told him to stop. This individual did not stop. Amar Reish Lakish said, this person should be rad in Chayrim. Amar Le'adarabba. So that person said back to Reish Lakish, in moment is chayav lecha nidui minus chayav la. Just because I'm a chayav moment for robbing, would that be a reason to put me in nidui? Also, maybe Josh should the base medrash amalei shaloi nidach. His nidui to you is a good nidui. Shalcha ain't a nidui. Yours is not. Fascinating. The person was correct. If you steal, it's not a reason to put a person in nidui. I owe you money. So the nidui that person that Reish Lakish placed on the individual was not a nidui. The nidui that the individual placed on Reish Lakish was a nidui. Moed Katan, what should I do? Go to him and he'll matter you. So Reish Lakish says, Lo Yudainale, I don't know who he is. I don't know. So I'm going to say, go to the Nasi, and the Nasi will go ahead and matter you. The Tanya, if you're a nido and you don't know who put nido, if you put a person a nido and you don't know who it is, go to the Nasi, biatla nido. A fascinating idea, this union of nido. I'm Rav Huna, Av Bezdin Shesarach, Amen Adam Masay, Av Bezdin Shesarach that went off, you don't put him in nido. We tell him, stay home. If he continues in his evil ways, then you would put him nidoy, Chil Hashem. Pligi the Reish Lakish, and this August Reish Lakish, number Reish Lakish, Talmud Chacham Shesarach, Amen Adam Asay, Talmud Chacham that goes bad, that goes sour, you do not put him in nidoy. Fehesha Shnemar, V'chashalta Yom Kishul Gavnovi Emcha Laila, Kisul Kalayla, like the Laila covered up like the nighttime. Initially, with Masham Naji put himself in Chayrim. But look at the Rashi over here. Rashi says that Mishamet Navshei Mishum Yikara Dahud Sumer Rabbanim, because of the yakar of this Talmud Chacham, and it seems that what he put himself first in. Rashi Taisus says the bottom Taisus Mishum Navshei Mishum Tsar Shetzorach Linda is Talmud Chacham. He put himself in nidui because of the tsar that he has to put the Talmud Chacham in Nidoi. That's what I mean. It's Nidoi is like a neder, like a shvua, like a ned, like a chalois. And he's going ahead and he's putting himself in Nidoi because of the pain he's going to cause others. Hinami another b'shat tais. It says Kadesha Yisacha lahater in order to remember to matter the other one. And that's because he knows he's going to be matter his own. Okay, back in the Gemara. When Marzutra came to his inn, Shari Nafshe, first he took the needle for himself, Shari day, and then he took the needle for the individual. So it was a mnemonic to remember, either according to the second Pshat and Taisus or covered for the Talmud Chacham according to the first Pshat and Taisus. Amrav Gidl Amarav Talmud Chacham Menada La'atzma Yemef La'atzma. You can go ahead, be Menada, and take it off. Amrav Papa Tasili, I should have a reward. Leishamti Tzumir Rabban Lola. I never put a Talmud Chacham in Nidoi. El Kikam Chayiv Tzum Rabban and Shamta, when they did something that would require Shamta Hachi, otherwise what would you do? If you never put him in Nidoi, what would you do? Kihod the Marav, like the Eretz Yisrael, Mimni and the Gidei, the Tzur Rabbanan, Mimni Shamta. So count me in as one who would give Malchus to Tzur Rabbanan rather than a Shamta. Guys, here's an amazing thing that Malchus is worse than this, is easier than Shamta. Being in Shamta is worse than Malchus. Fascinating. My Shamta, what's the lashon of Shamta? What is it? So Amarav, Shem Misa. Shamta, guys, Shamta means is Shamta is Shem Misa. Shmuel Amar, Shmama Yiyah. You should be like desolate. And the Shamta helps like the tichya, like fat, animal fat, but tanura in an oven. If you take animal fat and you put it on the walls of a hot oven, it never comes out. So to the Shamta, the effect of the Shamta will always be there, even after it's over. However, this opinion of Shmuel that it stays there forever, the remnants stay forever, this is in disagreement with Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish seems to say that it would come out. Where do you see that? Right? Where do you see that Reish Lakish says it will be fine? Says the Gemara. Domer Reish Lakish says, just as the Shamta goes ahead and enters the 248 limbs of a person, so when it leaves, it leaves what? The 248 limbs. Where do you see that from? Where do you see it goes into Chsiv? It says, and the city should be in Cherem. Cherem b'gematria is Masayim ba'aboyim shmoina have. Cherem, you do the math, it's very simple, is this is speaking about by Yericho, you put a Cherem to take the spoils from Yericho. And you say Cherem is Ches is 8, Reish is 200, Mem is 42, 48. So then when you go in, the Cherem goes in, it's 248. Kishi Yaitza, Reish Lakish says the whole thing comes out. The Chsiv, it says, Beroiges Rachim Tiskar. In anger, remember to have Rachmanis. Rachem b'gematria is hachahabi. His word is 248, so it goes out. I'm Rabbi Yosef. Shadi Shamta agin guvsa the kalba. Go ahead. It's a very, very strange Gemara. But go ahead, put a Shamta on the tail of a dog. The iu the day of. Then in fact, you'll see it works. The kalba davi ochol masani drabbana. There was a dog that was eating the shoes of the chachamim. They didn't know who it was. They said, whoever it is, go ahead and be in Nidoi. The fire, that dog that was going ahead and stealing, his tail caught on fire. There was this guy was a strong arm guy. He was not a nice fellow, and he was mistreating other people. Like Messiah Lahum Sum Rabban, he was Messiah to certain Talmud Chacham. Asla Kamed Rabbi Yosef became friend of Rabbi Yosef. Amalei Rabbi Yosef said to him, to this young Talmud Chacham, Zil Shamte, go put a chayim on him. Amalei said to Rabbi Yosef, Mestafinim, I'm scared. These guys are a strong guy. So Amalei, I got a better idea. Shekili Piska Allah, take out a Shamta Psicha, go write it down. Not in words, go ahead and write it down. So he said, so Kol Shekain to Mestafinim, certainly I'd be more scared. What kind of AIDS is this? So Amalei Rabbi Yosef told this Talmud Chacham, Shakle, take this Piska that you wrote about him, Achte Bekada, go ahead and put it in a card on the days. The achte bikave, then put the card, the jug, in a cemetery. The koribe alfi shipuri baboyin yaima, blow 1,000 shofar blows in this jug for 40 days. Azlav hachi, the Talmud Chacham did this, and paka bada, the jug, it burst apart. Umes alma, and the strong person, he died. My shipur, the Gemara says, what does the have to do? The shofar have to do with the shamta? He says, "Nefrayim mimenu." The shofar lashon nefrayim to take retribution. My tavra, why do we blow? It seems to blow tavra like lashon tavra is broken. On Yitzchak Beit Rav Yehuda, tavri bate rami. We go ahead and that shamta it breaks things. It breaks. Rashi says bati rami tall buildings. The Tanya. Amr Shimon ben Gamliel, Kol Machu Shenasa Chachamim and wherever Chachamim look, either poverty comes or Misa comes. We've had Gemaras where certain people will look at other people, and they become Galavanim, they would become Meister Rabbi Yochanan, and person, he looked at him and he became a Galavanim, and became a bunch of stones. Okay, so that's the end of the sugya of Shamta. The end of the sugya of Shamta, Nidui. Now we get back to the dinim Chol Moed. We said that in Chol Moed a person can't take a in Chol Moed. What was the reason? That she entered the moed, that she should enter the moed, but in the regal by kavadik, right? So since he doesn't have an option for taking a haircut on Chol Moed, we can assure the first day when Yontif, the first day Yontif enters, he's going to be in a good state. We said there were certain scenarios where a person was let out of prison, a person was let out of captivity, a person came from Guinness Hayom. Certain scenarios where there's a haichacha, why they didn't take a haircut, they were permitted to take a haircut. We had shilas about individuals who were busy, right about them. We said srike base, kol srikin asurin, srike basis mutarin, all the matzahs, the arasa, his smuta, we can't change, right? We asked by an umin, we said it didn't make a difference. We however said the following. We said that a nazir and a mitzvah, that they become clean, they would be able to go ahead and take a haircut. Now the Gemara is going to ask, does that mean when exactly would they become a tyra on the moed or even before the moed? What exactly is the scenario? Let's see. From the state of Tumah to a state of Tyra would be permitted to take a haircut on the moed. Boy, Rav Yomi and Rabbi Zera. Rav Yomi always asks great kashas. He asks from Zera the following. Is that speaking where they didn't have the time? And they're no different than the person who comes from overseas or let out of captivity or prison. Bigger chiddush. Even if they had time to take a haircut, if they didn't and they failed to take a haircut, they still will be permitted to take the haircut on the moed. Right? You hear this? That's the shaila. Some later, Zera told Yirmiyah Tanina, Kol elu sha'amru mutarim legalech b'moed. All those that we said that's mutal legalech b'moed. Just don't let out of prison, captivity, and coming overseas. All those is speaking where what? Is speaking where what? Is shaloya learn penai. They didn't have time. If they did have time, asurim. However, nazir u'mitzayra afal pisha hoyalehem penai. Even if they did have time, erev regel, to take a haircut, and they didn't, mutarim. They would go ahead and be muta on Chol Moed. Why? Shlayashu karbanoseihem. They should not go ahead and be masher their karbanos. The day that a nazir and the day that mitzvah go ahead and cut their hair, they bring karbanos. So what's going to happen over here? If we don't, the rabbanon in effect say, listen, you can't take a haircut on Chol Moed because you could have taken it beforehand, and we want to go ahead and make sure you don't enter the moed in a state of disarray. Look at these people. Here you have. So here we have Mitzvah and a Nazir and Taka. They should have taken a haircut and they didn't. Now it's Chol Moed. The day they take a haircut, they're going to have to bring their kabbanis. If we delay taking the haircut because it's the Rabbanan dictum, right? It's going to delay bringing kabbanis. We don't want to delay bringing the kabbanis. There's Baal Ta'acha. We know delaying kabbanis is not a good thing. So the Chachamim, they lifted their gezerah of not being able to take haircut in the moed in order to facilitate them bringing the kabbanis on the day they take the haircut. And therefore, they nazir mitzvah. So Rabbi Zera is answering Rabbi Yirmiyah's query. He's asking his question. Guess what? They're different than the Medina Sayyam and the base of the Shvi and the base of Surim. They're different than all these people. They only if they didn't have time. Because they didn't have time. But anyone who had time, right? Who had time, they wouldn't have a heter. They wouldn't have a heter. All these people, if they had time. Mashen came Mitzora and the Nazir, even if they did have time, that we don't want them to go ahead and delay bringing the Kabbanis, therefore they were able to go ahead and bring it even Cholamoid. Okay, says the Gemara Vaita. Two statements. Okay, let's a little hakdama over here. A little hakdama. We didn't get this. We're going to get to it in 2 days. We know that if you kept Avelis, you know there's Shiva and the Shloshim. We know that the Yontif goes ahead and it stops Shiva if the Shiva began. If the Shiva did not begin, in fact, then it doesn't begin until after the Yontif. My father, Leolenu, was niftar on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. I sat Shiva, even though it was the next day of Rosh Hashanah. I didn't stop it. I sat Shiva the next day, right? And I started not the next day. I started after Yontif. So, but we know that it would stop it. Hu adin shloishim. Hu adin the shloishim. The shloishim. If the shloishim starts before the Yontif, so let's say a person gets Shiva, you sat a full Shiva, then comes day number 8. And here's this question: when exactly does the shloishim begin? Does it begin Miktzas Hayom Kekulo on what? On the 7th, or only after the 7th is finished? In other words, do we say, I kept the 7th day, Miktzas Hayom Kekulo, and now the shloshim begins on the beginning of the 7th day? Or no, you need a full 7 days. That's machlokes in the Gemara between the Chacham and Abishol. Abishol says, we say Miktzas Hayom Kekulo. So with that scenario, so let's say a person didn't exactly when Yontif falls out, is going to go ahead and influence whether exactly what's the case over here. So let's see inside. Let's see the Gemara. Tana, hakoyin va'aval, hakoyin and aval, mutarim bigiluach. They're able to go ahead and take a haircut. Now, hi aval hechidami. What exactly is this aval? When exactly are you saying that he could take a haircut in Cholamoid? Ilema shachal shmini shaloi be'erev haregel. If you're going to tell me that what? That the 8th day began Erev HaRegel, so now his Shiva is over. He should have gone ahead and taken Erev HaRegel. Why? Because the Regel is going to be mafsik, guys, the Shloshim, because it's day 8 already. Day 8 means that what? You finished your Shiva, and you have the first day of Shloshim, and the Regel's coming, so there's no reason to take a haircut. So why do you have to wait until Chol HaMoed? You should take it Erev Regel. Ela must be what? Shechal Shmini Shaloi Liyos B'Shabbos Erev Regel. The Regel falls out on Sunday. Shabbos is Erev Regel. The Shloshim falls out then. So therefore, he couldn't possibly take a haircut, and therefore he could take it Chol HaMoed. Says the Gemara, Boile Galuche Erev Shabbos. He should have taken Erev Shabbos, because if the 8th day falls on Erev Regel, right? That means the Shloshim was ended on the 7th. Guys, what did Abishol say? Day 7 is the last day of Shiva. It's also the first day of the Shloshim. So Shabbos is already day 8. Friday, you had the Heter. You already was the Shloshim, and now you have the Regel going ahead and going to be mafsik in the Shloshim. So you should have taken the haircut when? On Friday. Why do you wait till Sunday or on Monday? It'll be the first day of Chol HaMoed. So again, the Gemara is having trouble finding what's the scenario where the Oval is able to take a haircut Chol HaMoed. L'chayra, he should have been able to take it before Chol HaMoed, before the Moed. The 7th day is on Shabbos, so Erev Regel. So the 7th day, guys. So day number 7 is in fact what? The Shabbos, and it's Erev Regel. So Regel is going to be on Sunday. Now here's the question: was his Shloshim mevatel or not? Tana b'ra savala ka'abishol. The Tana of the Brisa holds like Abishol, the Amar Miktzas Hayom Kekuloi. That what? We say Miktzas Hayom Kekuloi, and therefore the 7th day is both. V'yom HaShvi'i, and the 7th day, which is now Shabbos Erev HaRegel, Oilaloi Lakan Lakan, right? It counts for both. For keeping the Shabbos Habe, in other words, he would be able to take a haircut if it wasn't Shabbos. Because why? Because again, you have the heter that his shleishim is going to be knocked off because the shiv is finished. Shleishim, the seventh day is also shleishim. Now comes the yontif. He's an honest because it's Shabbos, and therefore he can take a haircut when? During Chol Hamoed. And Tana Didan, who does not list this as one of the people who can take a haircut Chol Hamoed, the Shiva, he didn't finish the Avelis. Okay, let's see it outside. Let's do it outside. The rule of thumb here is if the person could have taken a haircut because the shloishim is finished, and right, then he should have taken a haircut. Okay. If the shloishim was not finished, if the shiva was not finished, then obviously you can't take a haircut. So the Brisa says the following: an oval can take a haircut Chol Hamoed. Here's the scenario: the seventh day shiva fell out on Shabbos, and so Erev HaRegel was on Shabbos. The Erev HaRegel was on Shabbos. The Regel was on Sunday. Now, if it was a normal day, he would be able to take a haircut. Why? Because his shiv is finished. His shloishim is being interrupted. It started already on day 7. It started. It's Erev HaRegel. The Regel is going to knock it off. Take a haircut. But he can't. Why? It's Shabbos. Memela, what can he do? He takes a haircut during the Moed. He was an honest. Our Tanu says he cannot take a haircut during the Moed is because he never began his shloishim. Because he holds like the Chachamim, that day 7 is only the end of Shiva. The shloishim begins on day 8. Day 8 didn't begin yet. The regel's not going to knock off his shloishim. The male can't take a haircut on Chol Hamoed. That would be beautiful. Hezbollah, exactly what the Brisa was speaking about. Now, the next case is the Kohen, who could take a haircut Chol Hamoed. To know this, we go back to the Mishmar. A Kohen, the 24 Mishmarim, they would work basically twice a year. They would serve right every week, and they would change. They have to take. We do not let them take a haircut during their mishmar, during their turn, right? Except we're going to see, with exceptions, certain days, because they should have had anticipated being, a kohen should have his hand done correctly when he does he should be purah when he does the avodah. Okay, so now, what's the scenario of a kohen taking a haircut during Chol Hamoed? That's what we're trying to figure out. Hi kohen, heichi dami. This kohen, what exactly was speaking about? Elaim with the shalom mishmartoi erev regel. If you're telling me his mishmeres ended finished erev regel, he boiled gluche erev regel. Then he should have taken what? A haircut erev regel. He should have his mishmer finished. He should have taken a haircut then. Like tzricha the shalom mishmeres per regel. It finished in the middle of the regel. It finished on the regel. Tani dan sava kim detnan b'shloisha prakim b'shana hayakol mishmer shabbos. 3 times a year, all the mishmarim would come serve. The imuria regol, they would be equal in the imuria regolim regarding going ahead and taking the imurim of the regel. Ubechilik lechem aponim and right and kimandaloi shalom mishmartoi beregel dami. So he holds that what that it's like it was not finished. In other words, 3 times a year, the mishmeres was they would have part of the action. They're part of the action. So now comes the Erev Regel, and he has to take a haircut. The Tana Brasa, but the Tana Abraisa holds, Afagav the Shaykh Baharach Mishmarois, even Afagav the Shaykh Baharach Mishmarois, even though he's Shaykh to the Mishmar of the Regel, Mishmartia Mia Shneimulay, his Mishmar is finished. And therefore what? His Mishmar is finished, and therefore he's able to take a haircut in the middle of the Moed. Right? He's able to take a haircut in the middle of the Moed. Okay, we'll stop over here. That's the Hashem. Okay, thanks everyone for listening.